Last time on Ace Attorney Investigations 2. You know what? Honestly, she deserves this. I'm afraid I cannot accept that camera footage alone as evidence. As for evidence, I have it. Well then, please show us your evidence. Where is the evidence that shows that the scene of the crime was the detention center? The blood stains on the floor. This is the floor. Oh, goddess of law, I am unable to comprehend your mysterious ways. This is what we discovered. The area here was tested positive for Mr. Knightley's blood. Well, that's the first time I've actually seen, like, her, quote-unquote, damaged animation. This blood test, can it really be trusted? It's done by the police! To begin with, how were you able to conduct a scientific investigation? I happen to have a subordinate. I can't vouch for his competence, but he is a man that I trust. That detective? This concerns me. I cannot think why one would disturb the order of law. The Prosecutorial Investigation Committee's influence goes as far as to the police department. Gummy's in trouble. Forgive me, Detective. I'm afraid something bad may come of this. I will accept the fact that blood was found at the detention center as evidence. However... How ridiculous. This is unthinkable of you, you third-rate prosecutor. Mr. DeBest, you're here. I'd completely forgotten about him. There's a giant contradiction in your statement. According to the security tape, a dog killed Knightley in his cell. Then after he left the cell, the blood on the floor was wiped away. Ah! I don't know why it took so long to respond to that. That was a weird scream, too. Did the dog wipe away the blood stain? As if that could happen. How long have you been here? Oh wait, that's right, he's been here the whole time. That is possible of my Anubis, right, boy? What? That was one of the tricks I taught him while I was still in the outside world. He makes sure to hide any blood stains he makes. So as not to leave behind any evidence. I was saved, if only by chance. Shouldn't you have taught your dog to shake or something? Anubis also performs that trick very well, but the shake I taught him is a little different from the others. First, he bites the victim's hand. Stop, stop, stop! I don't want to hear anymore. I see. I understand, Prosecutor Edgeworth. It appears you've gathered a good hand. I'm glad you understand. Never mind. My argument isn't over yet. Objection overruled. Hey now, that's a little harsh. Sebastian, would you allow me the privilege of explaining? Sure, Justine. Do you finally realize? The murder occurred in the detention center, therefore that assassin's pet dog. My opinion has not changed. Unless I can understand how the dog was able to enter and leave the crime scene. I'm afraid I cannot accept your logic, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I've been waiting for you to say that. Now let me show you. This evidence shows the route the dog used to go between the detention center and the prison. It is... the hole. This photo. It shows a secret tunnel hidden in the prison. That's impossible. A secret tunnel? Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel. This tunnel was dug by the escaped prisoner, J. Albert. I think I've referenced Avatar more than I've referenced, like, some of my other LPs. Like, I've referenced it a lot now that I think about it. It begins in his prison cell, and it's connected to a holding cell in the detention center. Namely, the victim cell. I'm shocked. How did this... Dogen? You must have known of this, since you used this tunnel to commit murder! In the name of the goddess of law, I hereby reject Prosecutor Edgeworth's claim.
Hold it!
What do you mean?
Overruled!
Just because you say Judge Jesus doesn't like it doesn't mean that my logic is flawed. Evidence is everything that remains true here, just as in the courtroom. Isn't that right? I have evidence here. Horace Knightley's autopsy report. Wait, wouldn't all the gods of law be the people named after gods like Athena and Apollo? Autopsy report? Since when? Why are you surprised? This was delivered straight from the police a short while ago. It's not complete yet, it's more of a preliminary report. Jesus. Here, the very word of the goddess of law is written. Cause of death, stab wound to the neck, died instantly. Murder weapon, sharp metal object. You don't know, maybe it was like repeating it and it had a knife in its mouth. You don't know what that dog can do. The victim was stabbed multiple times in the same spot with a sharp object. Although they were unable to determine the actual shape of the murder weapon, they have clear proof that it was a sharp metal object. Do you still stand by your claim that a dog used a sharp metal object to kill the victim? Ah! It can't be! That is all. The court is adjourned.
Objection!
But wait! The tunnel contains the dog's footprints. Perhaps it may have been one of Anubis's walking courses? I can never tell what Anubis gets up to outside my cell. Something feels unnatural about all this, but I have no evidence. Courtney Pye, you sure pulled out a hidden gem at the very last moment. She waited for the perfect time to reveal the autopsy report. Sounds like a familiar trick. Someone I know used to do. A lot. Literally every case. I have no other tactics, okay? I let her out with me again? Appointed Attorney Shields. Here is the autopsy report from earlier. I apologize for the delay. No, it's all right. Thank you. I'll gladly accept it. Mr. Shields, I don't believe it's necessary to hold hands while exchanging documents. I advise you stop. Huh? Persist any longer, and I shall call on the strength of the goddess of law. I'll be careful. Justine, well done. Just as I planned. I only acted in accordance to your instructions. That's bullshit. The autopsy report came straight from the police. I can't refute it. However, if the murder weapon wasn't the dog, Dogen will be cleared of all suspicion. The merciful goddess of law so decrees. If you choose to yield now, your badge will not be taken. I have a strong feeling maybe the murderer is someone we haven't even met yet. Maybe it was that third prisoner that was free during the show. If we have one of them wrong so far. It's unclear. If you choose to yield now, your badge will not be taken. What will you do, sir? She says that, but my answer remains the same. Judge Courtney, it is as I said before. I will see my job through. I will not yield to threats. So even now, you still refuse to give up. If you want to keep your badge, this may be your last chance. Right now, I am a defense attorney's assistant. What I protect is not my badge, but my client. I just want to imagine that Phoenix is sitting at home drinking coffee, and he's reading the paper, just sees like a headline that's like, Prosecutor Edgeworth becomes a defense attorney assistant, and he just like spews the coffee out of his mouth all over the paper and starts laughing like crazy. He's like, what? This can't be happening. He's taking my job. Now we're talking. Miles is starting to understand that a defense attorney never gives up. Actually, those were the words of your old man. My father. It really is in your blood. You're the spitting image of him right now. You said it yourself. You've changed since you were tainted by Von Karma. It's only now that I've actually come to believe it. Mr. Shields. Well then, Miles. Now's the time to put those skills to the test. Think beyond your limits. If the murder weapon was a sharp object, does that really negate your reasoning? The murder weapon was a sharp object. That's it! There were 5 chisels placed inside this special cell. Dogen is a former assassin. it's quite possible he could kill someone with just a chisel. In that case, the weapon that killed Horace Knightley was... Is that all? Well then, I suppose I'll be giving up. Evidence is everything, didn't you say? Oh, come on, can you please stop? I just want to go to McDonald's and go home. No McDonald's today, young Sebastian. We have food at home. You're always like this, Justine. The murder weapon was a sharp metal object. However, such a weapon has yet to be found. What? What? So what are you trying to say? The only decisive evidence is the actual murder weapon itself. And that was in plain sight this whole time. The real murder weapon is... Dogen's chisel. What did you say? Aw. Take responsibility for your own statements. The scene of the crime was Mr. Knightley's cell. You said so yourself. You should take responsibility for your own statements, too. You contradict yourself constantly. If the evidence changes, then so will my logic. That, too, is courtroom procedure, is it not? If the chisel was used, that means the killer was human. Not really. I mean, a dog could still do it. You guys are discrediting dogs here right now. However, the fact remains that we cannot deny the security, or the security photo. Yeah, what about that photo? I'll give you the answer. This photo shows the moment the dog leapt at the victim. Someone attacked the dog. Someone attacked the dog. Someone attacked the dog. I'm gonna say the dog leapt at the victim. Dogen's dog leapt at Knightley. However, the victim did not die at that time. Didn't die? Oh, you know what? Perhaps... Yeah, okay, I was just thinking it. Edgeworth just said it on screen. But perhaps the dog knocked him unconscious and then dragged him back to Dogen, in which Dogen was able to murder him. And then... What I don't understand is the connection between where Dogen's room is and the workroom, unless Dogen was already in the workroom, but it was empty at the time, so it's not quite together in my head yet, but we're getting closer. He was only knocked unconscious. The dog didn't move a dead body, it moved the unconscious Knightley. And the real killer was its owner. I see, the victim was moved. It would have become possible for Dogen to commit the murder. And use the murder weapon. Indeed, the killer is Sirhan Dogen. Can only be you. I bet your teacher used to write on your report card, needs to pay more attention on what others say. I would think that describes you more. We examined that room, every crook and granny, right, Justine? We're getting a saying wrong. Oh, that's Justine. We examined all 4 of Mr. Dogen's chisels and found no traces of blood. Thank you, Judge Courtney. Thanks to you, I am now certain. Thanks to me? Whatever do you mean? When I came here earlier, I saw 5 chisels. That's right, there was definitely 5 chisels here before. So the one that disappeared was the smallest one, presumably for portable use. Dogen, where is that chisel? I am not free to leave this place. I have no need of a portable chisel. Not free to leave. In that case, he mustn't have been free to hide the deadly chisel either. Dogen, you just dug your own grave. It seems you know something. Would you care to show it? Dogen couldn't leave, so the place he hid the chisel is his own cell.
Take that!
Dogen is a prisoner, so he can't leave his cell freely. Perhaps he could have sent his dog out to dispose of it. But he would not have been able to confirm the weapon's location. So what does that leave? Above all else, special metal tools are allowed in this cell. Even if one chisel were to appear here, no one would suspect a thing. You'd be a fool not to take advantage of that. I see. Of course, it's always safest if you do something yourself. But I examined everything. I didn't find any hiding places in the cell. I am certain that the murder weapon is here. The reason you haven't found it is because you're an idiot, and it was cleverly hidden. You say I hid it? Where exactly? Think. Where could he have hidden it? I have to remember everything up to this point. There must be some clue. I think he hid it with, like, in the chessboard, maybe? Because we looked at the, portable chess thing, and maybe he modeled it after that? I don't know. Oh, does this mean what I think it means? Let's get going, Mr. Edgeworth. Did the dog eat it? Come to think of it, that dog hasn't barked at me once today. Oh, yeah. Previously, when I came to a special cell, it barked on Dogen's command. That's it. That's what's been out of place. There's just one place he could have hidden the murder weapon. Giving up already? How dull, how dull.
Hold it!
Hold it! I will present evidence. This piece of evidence shows where you concealed the murder weapon. The dog. Hasn't your dog been awfully quiet today? Now that you mention it, it hasn't barked at all. Before it was... Okay, so, quick story here. That actually totally lines up. Mainly because when dogs eat something that they can't digest, they do two things. One, they kind of position themselves in a straight line because it can't move down their intestinal tract freely as it should. Two, they stay very silent, if at most make a small whimpering sound. I know this because my dad's dog actually ate an entire t-shirt once and had to get it surgically removed. So, and he was a pretty big dog too. Sir Hondogen, open that dog's mouth now. Anubis doesn't bark needlessly. I ordered him to do that before. In that case, order it to bark now. Naturally, you should be able to. You have nothing to hide. It was inevitable. Anubis, show them your mouth. Yes. As you can see, a dog of this size can easily conceal a small chisel in its... What? Why a chisel? The dog really had one in its mouth? I thought he was unusually quiet. Was he unable to follow the discussion? You know, I think Sebastian is one of the slower prosecutors and attorneys we've seen. I feel like he could be outwitted by most tutorial prosecutors or defense attorneys. Sebastian, could you call the forensics department urgently, please? Ugh, I got it. A reaction. This chisel tests positive for blood. What? How many times are you gonna say that? I guess that proves my theory wasn't just nonsense. Will this chisel be the murder weapon then? It reacted positively for blood. There's no doubt about that. I feel like this isn't the end though. Mr. Sir Hondogen, now that the murder weapon has been found, I must ask you for your testimony. We know how your dog got to the detention center, and we found the murder weapon. Do you still think you can talk your way out of this? Interesting. This guy, even at a time like this, he's still smiling. Well, Anubis, it seems everyone has become suspicious of you. It's quite troubling. But since it has come to this, we have no choice but to tell the truth. I did not kill anyone. I've long grown weary of killing. What's this? His face looks completely composed. It seems we'll need to listen to Mr. Dogen's explanation. Please promptly give your testimony. Certainly. Where'd your pupils go? I sold them. First of all, I would like you to explain my motive. I do not know anyone by the name of Knightley. We share no connection. So I wouldn't think some motive for murder would just appear out of nowhere. Or are you insinuating that my Anubis had a motive? He only bares his fangs at others on my command. Couldn't he have used the, I believe his command could be the bell, which is tied to the chisel or some such, but I don't know how that, kind of marks in. Oh, sorry, I skipped that last statement. Is there a way to go back and view it? No, there isn't. With my short bit of playing the 3DS, Dual Destinies, I actually was able to go back and look at old dialogue, which is an amazing feature. That could be here, and I'm just screwing everything up and don't remember. Coming from an assassin, it sure is persuasive. An assassin who only kills acquaintances. I doubt that would be profitable. I may kill strangers in my line of work, but I never make it personal. Is there evidence that shows a connection between Knightley and Dogen? I should thoroughly review the evidence once more. I would say the chess game, wouldn't it be? First of all, I'd like you to explain my motive. I do not know anyone by the name of Knightley. We share no connection. That's wrong. Super wrong already.
Objection!
You've lost your touch, Sir Dogen. If you had your dog clean up after you, you should have disposed of this, too. This is a record of a correspondence chess game found in the victim's cell. This record and the chessboard in your cell both clearly depict the same game. What? I've heard that the number of possible chess positions is around 10 to the power of 120. Wow, 10 times 10, 120 times? 100, 1,000, is that even a real number? Indeed, there was absolutely no way these two could have coincided by chance. Tell us your reason for killing Knightley. Unless you intend to explain this as a coincidence. Well, don't they say that the truth is stranger than fiction? It is as you said. Whoa, shoot, I don't know. Oh, the button is totally stuck on my controller. That is what's happening. It's also because one of the buttons on the back of the controller, I just realized, is mapped to, the same button that skips forward dialogue, so I just better stop pushing that now. But there's no way that could have happened. My correspondence chess opponent was the victim in this incident. What a horrible coincidence. Aren't you shocked too, Anubis? Looks like I'll have to tell them the truth, Anubis, my boy. The animal show or something. Or something. That was when everyone left. Anubis brought the body to my cell. He had already been stabbed in the neck with the murder weapon. I did not wish to be suspected, so I had Anubis carry the body to the workroom. After that, he pulled out the murder weapon and returned to me. So you're saying the one who pulled the weapon out was Anubis? That's right. If I pulled out the murder weapon here, the blood would have been a problem. Mr. Edgeworth, isn't this what that Schwitt guy said? A large black dog was biting into the neck of the victim. What did you say? It was truly hellish scene. That dog killed him. I see. So that means Schwitt witnessed the moment that the murder weapon was pulled out. Oh yes, that prisoner's testimony. It surprised me when I first heard it. It's not often Anubis makes a blunder like that, right, boy? Now, I believe that explains my actions. I did not kill him. All I did was remove the murder weapon. Now, will that be all? Anubis is getting tired.
Objection!
God, I can't believe his voice. Like, I know they joked about it, but in my mind, he has such a jokey voice. And there he's like, objection! Like he's some sort of action hero. Whoa there, just a moment, Mr. Dogen. Mr. Shields. Isn't there one thing you haven't explained? Why would you need to pull out the murder weapon in the first place? That's right. I understand why he'd move the body to draw suspicion away from it. But he didn't need to retrieve the murder weapon. I thought him just a fool, but how quickly his scent has changed. Care to elaborate, Mr. Dogen? It was because of this bell. The bell attached to the murder weapon, and the bell on my dog's neck. They share a distinctive shape, wouldn't you say? The assassin's are Hondogen's trademark. The assassin's trademark? Oh, that's right, you hear a bell when he's coming or whatever. The blind assassin Sir Dogen. He always appears at the sound of a bell. Yeah, he has one tied to his knife and one tied to the dog. The sound of a bell ringing is in the dark of the night is said to be the last thing his target hears. You remember well. It has been a while since you last saw my bells, after all. When I prosecuted you in court, I confiscated a knife with a bell attached to it. Yes, my bells. There are only 2 in the world. Only 2? They're custom-made, attached to my knife in Anubis's collar. Even though I can rely on my ears, I can easily identify them. Alas, one has been confiscated and is not in my possession. When Anubis brought the body here, I heard a familiar sound. I thought my knife must have been embedded in the body. So imagine my confusion when I found out that it was merely a chisel with my bell attached. Indeed, your knife is nothing like this chisel. Either way, these bells are my trademark. Moreover, I'm the only one in this prison who uses chisels. With all this, I knew I would be falsely suspected. Oh yeah, I kinda had that feeling too. So when I removed the murder weapon and hid it...
Hold it!
So you're claiming that you only move the body? Yes, that's what I've been saying for like the past 5 minutes. Did you listen? I tell you the chisel isn't mine. You think I'm lying. Go ahead and check my fingerprints. Sebastian! Me? But how do we check for... forensics? Yes, ma'am. What's his problem? Reaction. We have fingerprints. They're Knightley's, Justine. What about Dogen's? Nope, just Knightley's. There's no evidence of prints being wiped either. Only Knightley's fingerprints. It can't be. Should we re-examine it? See now? I never even touched that chisel, because I ordered Anubis to carry it in his mouth. In other words, the fingerprints belong to the chisel's original owner. Yeah. The murder weapon's owner was the victim? This is perplexing. At any rate, I did not touch the murder weapon. In other words, the killer could not have been me. Isn't that right? I have nothing to refute that. How could this... Is he really not the killer? Could Dogen's testimony actually be true? This can't be. It seems this is sufficient enough not to warrant any further explanation. As it stands, you have not changed the state of this case. I believe this is more than enough reason for us to relieve you of your badge, to save any needless fuss. I suggest you hand over your badge now. This is bad, sir. They sound serious. It's regrettable, but with those prints as decisive evidence, I'll have to rethink my logic from step 1. But there are still many unexplained things. Why would Mr. Knightley be carrying a chisel? It could be used for many things, perhaps even prison escapes. Well then, how did he carry it into the prison? I mean, the prisoners aren't even allowed cutlery. Right, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth? Even if your reasoning is off at first, you shouldn't let that confuse you. The most important thing is to arrive at the truth. Isn't that right? It doesn't matter how you get there, even if it means lying, or cheating, or stealing, or murder. The end result is to save Simon. We have to do everything we can for his sake. Well said, Kay. Nice one, Kay. I really want to scout you for the law firm now. Remember when Uncle Ray said a defense attorney never gives up? Miles, do you understand the true meaning behind those words? The true meaning of those words. Defense attorneys carry the fate of their client on their shoulders. You're the only person your client can rely on. Just like with Mr. Keys, we're the only ones who can save him now. The problem with this case right now is I still feel like there's someone else we haven't seen. I feel like nearly everyone has an alibi. With Simon Keys being the only one in the gray area. Meaning that it's either him or someone we haven't met yet. That is why we must never give up. There's no way Uncle Ray can go against the teachings of Gregory. So, what will you do? Currently, I'm a defense attorney's assistant. No, an assistant at my father's firm. I have made a commitment to this case, therefore, if I don't save my client, I cannot say I've achieved it. I will abide by this. To save Simon Keys. No matter how many times my logic fails, I will always find another possibility. Okay, you're finally back. Well then, let's search for that other possibility. To start with, do you think there was a way Mr. Knightley could have brought the chisel into the prison? The method Knightley used to bring the chisel into the prison was... the chessboard? Yeah, I guess, because I remember talking with the Best, and he was like, there could be a weapon hidden in here, and Edgeworth was like, shut up, you dumb child, go back to playing with your fingers or something. So I'm gonna take that. Wait, where is it? Did I skip over it? I did. Portable chessboard. Normally, metal objects can't be brought into the detention center or the prison. They'd just be caught by the security gate. However, there is one way to avoid this, and that is if they're sent in a package to the detention center. That's right, because it doesn't go through scanning. Wait, that seems really inefficient, actually, of the prison. That gate is only used on people. In other words, packages are sent to the detention center undergo a simpler check. So they don't use a metal... Wait, what's a simpler check than a metal detector? They just throw the object on the ground. It's like, confirm, not a bomb. Check passed. You're free to go. I can't think of anything more simple than a metal detector to check for what's inside. So they don't use a metal detector for that. This never should have happened. It seems that the guards are too careless. Knowing this, Knightley asked Simon to send him a package. Namely, a chessboard containing the chisel. Well, this has solved one of our problems. The fact that the chisel was not Mr. Dogan's but Mr. Knightley's. Given this, one major issue remains. The security camera shows a dog attacking the victim. As long as that exists, I will maintain that Dogan is the killer. But Dogan never touched the murder weapon. I'm stumped. We also desire a conclusion to this matter. Mr. Edgeworth, we can use one of my secret weapons, sir. Secret weapon number 4. The video analyzing machine, Mr. Analysis. I thought you said you didn't bring it. What's with that ridiculous name? I named it myself, sir. This will let us analyze video footage in detail. Go ahead. You'll soon see I'm not lying. I don't know what will come of this, but all we can do is now is investigate. Mr. Edgeworth, do you know how to use Mr. Analysis? A video analysis machine. Should I hear how to use it? Why not? I have no idea. Detective Gumshoe, could you show me how to use it? Of course, sir. Fundamentally, it's the same as investigating a crime scene. Just examine anything that piques your curiosity. To examine, just press the X button. Now I'd like you to look at the buttons below the monitor. Left and right buttons will rewind and fast forward respectively. And the center button lets you pause the video. Let's make good use of it to advance our investigation, sir. To rewind and fast forward, use the Y and A buttons. To pause, I use the B button. While pause, you can go to the previous frame or next frame. Just use the same left and right buttons as before, sir. Next, I'll explain how to zoom in. Just point the cursor at an area you want to zoom in on and press the button on the upper left, Mr. Analysis. That one says Zoom Plus. It seems I can also use the L button to zoom in. And after you've zoomed in, you can examine it just like you would the original image. Use the previous frame and next frame buttons to examine the frame by frame. But you can't actually play back the video in this mode, so just keep that in mind. And what should I do if I want to zoom out? Just press the top left button on Mr. Analysis again, sir. Now it should say Zoom Minus. And that concludes the explanation, sir. Well then, let's turn on Mr. Analysis. Use Mr. Analysis to examine any suspicious part of the video, sir. This is the video from the detention center's camera. I believe this was the moment when Knightley was being attacked by the dog. If that wasn't the case, then what does it show? Is the person in this video really Knightley? And what is the true form of his black silhouette attacking this person? I should check the video and try to find the answers to these two questions. There could be unexpected things in unexpected places. So be sure to check every nook and cranny of the vid. I forbid you from saying that, Gumshoe. Please, sir. I'm sorry. Just don't take my pay again. Never say that again. What part of the video is strange? Whoa. Whoa, this is weird and laggy. It's probably the mirror, isn't it? Oh, I can only zoom. How do I play it? There we go. Wait for it. Zoom! I have no idea what I'm looking at there. I was looking at the mirror because I was hoping that could give me a better image of what's happening, but I don't know which button on my control. Oh, that's the last frame button. Just gonna take it a frame at a time. Forward again. I see a police hat, I think. I'll just keep fast forwarding just in case anything weird happens. Nothing weird's happening, he's just jiggling. I just want to point out the fact that he's wearing a hat, maybe. Reflection of this person can be seen in the mirror. Is that a cap on his head? Actually, it kind of looks like the caps in the prison's guard wear, sir. You don't think it was a guard who was attacked? Have you ever received a report of any guard being attacked by an animal? No, not that I've ever heard, sir. Then it was someone else wearing the guard's uniform. I see. I have evidence that shows what this cap is. It is the stolen clothes.
Take that!
There was no report of the guard being attacked by an animal. However, we did hear that a guard's uniform was stolen. Putting two and two together, I'd say this was a disguise. Genius, right? The purpose of a prison escape. Disguised as a guard. I almost said disgusting. It's like that meme with Ephraim saying disgusting, except it's Gumshoe. That sounds like it could have been successful, sir. Speaking of prison escapes. Indeed, that person certainly was successful. If the person in this video is not Knightley, then perhaps that black shadow is not a dog either. Oh, could it? Well, I mean, there's still the possibility that Simon Keyes did it, and it could be his monkey, couldn't it? Because it would make more sense that a monkey stabs someone than a dog. You zoom in, you should be able to see its real shape, sir. What part of this video is strange? Zoom! It looks like a bear cub, actually, not a monkey. Like the bear cub the boxer dude had. This is... I fear we have made a grave miscalculation. This animal, this silhouette, no matter how you look at it, it's not a dog. This animal is a bear. From the silhouette, I'd say the animal is not a dog, but a bear. So then, in that photo I took, those footprints must have belonged to this bear, yes. Tunnel footprints data updated my organizer. Huh? Did you say a bear? Yes, that man is the first to come to mind. We are all under the impression that the person in this video is Knightley. But it's his cell after all, why would it be anyone else? That line of logic no longer holds. Remember the tunnel under his bed. It's possible whoever used his tunnel is the one in the video. It seems it is time to answer that question. Just who is the person in question in this video? The person in this video is... Wait, who's the person in the video? Are you talking about the person who owns the bear or the person in the video? Where'd he go? Where is he? Oh, there he is, J. Elbert. Oh, I guess that makes sense because the bear always jumps up on his chest. Oh, I get it now. Because the bear jumps up on his chest and then he acted like he was being attacked, maybe? And he was just dressed as him? Huh. I see how that would work. By the way, you guys did point out that his name is a thing for jailbird, and I didn't know what jailbird was. I'd never heard of that term, but I guess it means someone who has been in jail a while or is new in jail or something.
Take that.
The person wearing the guard uniform is the escaped prisoner J. Elbert. The probability is extremely high. His pet is a polar bear cub. But that bear here is black. Oh, the mud. Yes, that's why it was black, because Chouette was rubbing mud on all the animals. We have evidence that can explain this matter. The reason the polar bear became black is... I guess I'd present the gloves.
Take that.
Think back to Frank Chouette's testimony. That's the rubber glove I dropped. Where did the mud on this glove come from? Ah, that's the mud from my mud packs. At the time I was practicing applying my mud packs, could you tell me when this took place on the day of the incident? Since the animal show had started, I'd say it was around 9 a.m. The mud packs turned the animals' bodies pitch black, and my heart was pure white. I was totally engrossed with covering the animals in mud. During the animal show, Mr. Chouette was applying mud packs to the animals. So then, among those animals was this polar bear, yes. Prosecutor Edgeworth, there is a huge contradiction in your argument. The security camera footage... Shut up! Judge Courtney, you are quite right. Chouette used the mud packs during the animal show. Knowing this, a new contradiction in the video comes to light. New contradiction? Okay, do you know when this footage was taken? It was after the mud packs were used. That would put it around 9 a.m. In that case, you should notice something strange about this video. Huh? What's strange about it? The strange thing that contradicts the time this video was taken is... the time in the corner?
Take that.
The time Chouette covered the polar bear in mud was around 9 a.m. Which means that this video should also have been taken at 9 a.m. However, the timestamp reads 6 a.m. On that day, the prisoners went to the courtyard to watch the animal show. At this time, only 3 remained behind. Dogan in the special cell, Chouette in the workroom applying his mud packs, and the one who put his escape plan in motion at that moment, J. Elbert. Elbert left the polar bear in Chouette's care and entered the secret tunnel. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. However, the bear escaped from Chouette and followed after its owner. I thought that was a gunshot. And just as he was chasing after the escaped bear, Chouette happened to witness the dog pulling the murder weapon out of the body. If Chouette's testimony is correct, this video must have been taken around 9 a.m. However, the timestamp is off by 3 hours. Why would the timestamp be off like that? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to examine the security camera. Man, this case is actually really interesting. Sorry to keep you waiting, sir. I asked all the guards and... Seems the camera's power was cut off for a moment, throwing off the timestamp. What? The camera's an old model, so if it loses power, the clock stops as well. In that case, this means the camera's power was cut for 3 hours. While I'm at it, I've got some more information for you, sir. You heard that Knightley denied stealing the key, right? It seems nobody would believe the words of a criminal, but... Knightley testified, I was knocked out too. That may not necessarily be a lie. Wait, my, there you all are. Okay, almost everyone is here now. Making progress in your investigation. Can I be of any help? Actually, Warden Roland, there is something we must report to you. The escaped prisoner, J. Elbert, is most likely still inside the prison. He has disguised himself. There is proof. The person visible in the security video is Elbert. So perhaps he's still in this very building. Come to think of it, didn't Mr. Albert have a bracelet like the other prisoners? The bracelet would have been concealed under the uniform sleeves. Moreover, when the prison's main gate does not have a sensor to detect the bracelets, all you would have to do is avoid any doors with sensors inside the prison. That's right, so if he didn't enter the cells or the workrooms, could one of you guys be J. Albert? Oh, there's the proof. Oh, Rocky! Oh, he's that one right there. Stop it, what are you doing? It would seem that Rocky has answered that question for us. No! Rocky, this is all your fault. The little guy loves you so much, it's enviable. Right then, seize him at once. Wait, there is something we must hear from this prisoner. It's necessary if we are to find the truth. I'd like permission to interrogate him. Understood. What do you want out of me? Albert's escape route is linked to Knightley's cell, so it's highly likely he knows something about the crime. I'd like to ask you about the day the body was found. Crossy, starey eyes. When the body was found. So it was you guys. You were the ones who found my secret tunnel? It took me ages to dig that. The day the body was found was the day I planned to escape. I was in disguise. Then Rocky followed after me, but he was all covered in mud. I panicked and returned to my cell. Damn, if only you guys hadn't shown up. If only Knightley hadn't died. You say you dug the tunnel. What did you use to dig it? Oh, that. Just hammers and spoons, stuff like that. I bought them all from the supplier, but it was all for nothing. No need to lose your temper there. There's always next time. On the day of the incident, it's possible that Albert met Knightley while he was still alive. I'll have to listen to his testimony carefully. Press statement. Wow, this case has been going on for a while. I think we're nearing the end, though. You shut up. What's with that hold it, punk? You say you dug, what's it to you? You know how long it took me to dig that? I had to beg the supplier for those tools. Day after day, I slaved away. Give me back my hard work. Give it back, you son of a... I can't get a word in edgewise. You can't just go around discovering people's holes. Okay, yeah, that's a statement. That's definitely a statement. So you dug that hole alone? You're damn right I did. Would a tunnel like that really be dug by one person? Wow, such a wasted effort. A kid like you wouldn't understand. Never rely on others, never let others see you. Those are the rules we live by in here. Well, as a great thief, I kinda see where you're coming from. Okay, don't agree with him. Oh no, I was just joking. Well, I wasn't. Damn, why'd it come to this? He's super pissed off that this isn't going his way. The body was found... What's the day planned to be? Did you obtain the guard's uniform from the supplier, too? Yeah, that's right. Seems he got it by threatening a guard. That guy went and stole it from someone's locker. So then, when you went through the tunnel, you were already dressed like a guard. No. To ensure that the clothes wouldn't get stained with mud, I carried them with me. Once I get out of the hole and change clothes, getting out of the cell doors is simple. And that's when Rocky ran up and jumped on me. That must be the moment the security camera captured. I see. Could you add that to your testimony? Once I got out of the hole and changed clothes, getting out of the cell doors was simple. How is that simple? Getting out of the cell door was simple, you say? Yeah. Compare it to going through the tunnel, it was very simple. You inhabit a prison, yet you seem to know the layout of the detention center quite well. What's so wrong about that? Sure, I've been to the detention center too. In that case, he should have known about it from the start. When Knightley was in his cell, the door would have been locked, which means there was one piece of evidence Albert needed to escape. Oh, did he get, Oh, I got it. He got a hand of Schwitt's broken wrist collar, didn't he? Man, that feels good to understand. Mr. Albert, I'd like you to take a look at this piece of evidence. Did I present that on the wrong one, or am I just in the wrong completely? No, I think I'm in the wrong completely. That was how he would get out. I'd like you to take a look at this piece of evidence. Man, and I thought I was going to get through this without taking any damage. Looks like Mr. Albert's busy chasing a fly. He's not listening at all. Ah! He doesn't feel like listening. In that case, we'll make him pay attention with a straight punch. Yeah, let's settle this. Once I got out of the hole and changed my clothes, getting on cell doors was simple. Oh, he's talking about the keys, not... Because we're talking about the cell doors, not the prison itself. Nightly cell key. You said it was simple getting through the cell door. Yeah, that's right. You got a problem with that, huh? Even though you managed to arrive at Nightly's cell, opening the door wasn't so simple. How did you intend to unlock the cell door? J. Albert, you had the key to Nightly's cell. I ain't got nothing like that. But that's it, it was open. It was already unlocked when I got there. Indeed, the cell was vacant after Nightly's death, which is why. At the time we conducted our investigation, it was unlocked. Your successful escape attempt occurred after Nightly's death, so the door would have been open. However, you had tried to escape once before then. The plan was foiled thanks to Rocky, the video shows it. Yes, that was during the animal show, before Nightly's death was known. And the cell door was locked because no one knew he was dead. Without the key to Nightly's cell, your escape would have been impossible. That means I haven't spoken this whole time. I've actually not been in bitchy mode for like 5 minutes. That means it can't be. Exactly, what do you think? In the case of the stolen key, the culprit is... J. Albert. You were the one who attacked the guard, weren't you? The guard and Nightly, too, in order to steal the cell key. It wasn't me. I don't know any Nightly. After stealing the key, you returned to your cell as a precautionary measure. Then you waited for a time when the prison would be mostly vacant. That was just before Nightly's death became known. In other words, during an animal show. But in the end, the plan was foiled thanks to Rocky, who was quite adorable. Don't screw with me. You don't have evidence, I'll still win by decision. Besides, it was that Nightly guy who attacked the guard, right? I think not. Regarding the theft of the keys, Nightly was the victim. This proves Nightly was the victim who was attacked in his cell. I actually don't know what it would be. Oh yeah, the blood we found on the floor, obviously. Because we identified it, I think, and that was his blood.
Take that!
Floor blood! In Nightly's cell, there were traces of his blood, which had been wiped away. I believe this is more than enough proof. Nightly was attacked in his cell. You attacked those two people and stole the key, didn't you? Ugh. Stop shaking around like that. You're gonna stress the little guy out. I never thought you'd find the bloodstain I wiped away with the newspaper. Why'd you go through all that trouble of wiping the bloodstain? On the hands of Nightly and the guard, there were obvious signs of a scuffle, you know? If bloodstains were uncovered, they find out there was another attacker. If anyone looked around the bed, the tunnel I dug would be discovered. So you were trying to buy more time for your escape attempt. But I'm afraid to say your plan still ended in failure. Now then, hand over the keys to Nightly's cell. Oh, what? Oh, no. He took a pot. Oh. Oh, he's so cute. He just jumped off. No way. How could an amateur like you knock me out? Here, I got keys right here. Nightly cell data. Woo! What do you have to complain about now? Hold it, if you saw the key, then that means... That's right, Judge Courtney. You reasoned that Nightly stole the key and used it to leave his cell. From there, he entered the Mr. Key's cage and was moved to the workroom. However, The very foundation of that hypothesis has collapsed. How? I see, in that case, there was only one person who could have moved Knightley. The criminal must have been someone who knew about that secret tunnel. Hey, are you suggesting... J. Albert, you're under arrest, pal. Wait, I didn't do nothing. Sure, I knocked out those two guys, but then I stole the keys. And after that, I waited for the perfect time to enter that guy's cell. But the cell was empty then. There was no dead body either. And also, how could I have gotten into the workroom? I couldn't even leave my own cell, right? It's true, you only had this key to Knightley's cell. But, there's also Dogen's dog. What? It'd be impossible for the dog to carry the body from the cell to the workroom. I see. So you're saying there was an accomplice. Crime would have been possible if Albert and Dogen were working together. It's perfectly plausible. Somehow, Albert managed to carry Knightley's body to his own cell. And then the dog must have carried it to the workroom. Yes, because the animals can move freely in the prison. But that's not the case for the path between the detention center and the prison. The only one who could use that route was you, J. Albert. Well, what if there was another route that you didn't know about? There couldn't have been. The tunnel is a straight path, is it not? Yeah, seems like it. I didn't have enough time to dig any more than I did. I only dug halfway up the corridor. What? You mean to say that you didn't dig the entire tunnel? When I got to that cell, the tunnel was already there. There was a tunnel linking my cell to the well. Wait, to the well? Oh, that makes things even more suspicious. Looking down the well, from the courtyard, there's no mistaking it. They've always been connected. I just continued the tunnel with my digging. What was that hole doing there in the first place? Who knows? Maybe another inmate dug it in an attempt to escape. Or maybe the animals dug it. Maybe they wanted to drink from the well. That's highly doubtful. There's no water in that well anymore. It's all dried up. Wait a minute. That's it. For some reason, that well gave off a nice scent. A nice scent. I don't know what it was, but it smelled sweet, like candy. This scent. I believe we've come across it before. Do we know the scent from? We know it from where the body was, but... How do I... What would it be? I don't know how to present this piece of evidence. Because I don't have a thing for Sirhan's cell. Would it just be the crime scene notes, I guess? Oh, has a sweet scent. That's right, we updated it. That's why. Got it. Knightley's body was giving off a sweet candy-like scent. We used a police dog to track the scent. And that led us to discover the tunnel. By any chance, could this be the same scent as the well? Prosecutor Edgeworth, I know what you're trying to say. That the scent proves the body was carried down through the tunnel. Exactly. And J. Albert, you are the only one who could have used the tunnel. Thank you. Mr. Albert, I am very grateful to you. At last the truth comes to light. Mr. Albert, wouldn't it be wise to confess now? To being an accomplice, I mean. Don't tell me even you suspect me too. Judge Courtney, it seems you and I have come to the same conclusion. Not at all. Our thoughts on this matter are still quite different. J. Albert was certainly an accomplice, but an accomplice to Horace Knightley. What do you mean? J. Albert did not move the body. He simply lent the victim his keys. What? It would seem Mr. Albert did indeed strike Mr. Knightley on the head. However, Mr. Knightley was not knocked out. The two must have made a little negotiation. Negotiation? For Mr. Knightley's escape plan to work, he would have needed the keys to his cell. So Mr. Albert stole them from the guard. On the other hand, for Mr. Albert to escape, he needed to get to Mr. Knightley's cell. But if Mr. Knightley had seen him and yelled, the plan would have gone down the drain. And so they negotiated. I didn't negotiate nothing. Oh, so you still intend to deny it? I see. So in other words, we're back where we started. Mr. Elbert opened the cell door and Mr. Knightley entered Mr. Key's cage. And then he was moved into the prison. Of course. And then he was killed in the prison workroom. I forgot you were here. Weren't you listening? The scent on his body shows it must have been moved through the tunnel. Knightley was moved from the detention center through the tunnel. What now? Please wait until someone is finished before speaking. I do not claim that he wasn't moved through the tunnel. What? You don't? The scent shows that the body was moved through the tunnel. However, this does not mean it came from the detention center. What do you mean? That sure sounds like a contradiction to me. Isn't there one more possibility? The well in the courtyard. It's possible that the body was dropped down from there. The courtyard? Ah, the well, the courtyard. That short-term memory, Kay. Then again, I get that all the time. Mr. Keyes was carried the cage not to the workroom, but to the courtyard. Mr. Knightley was killed in the courtyard, and his body was dropped down the well. And then the body at the bottom of the well was moved by Mr. Dogan's dog. Now, there's one thing I'd like you all to remember. Before the body was discovered, what was happening in the courtyard? The animal show, right? Regina and Simon were there. Wait, Simon? Ah! I see you understand. Who then dropped the body down the well? Judge Courtney? She's a tough opponent. A flexible way of thinking enables her to adapt and come up with her own deductions. Mr. Knightley was not carried to the workroom, but to the courtyard. And Mr. Keyes was off stage for 15 minutes. This was when he dropped Mr. Knightley down the well. It was simple as that. Judge Courtney, your reasoning is sound, I'll admit that. However, let's say the body was dropped down the well. That didn't have to be done during the show. It could have happened at a different time. Unfortunately for you, Prosecutor Edgeworth, that is not possible. What? When the show started, Mr. Elbert was in the tunnel, on his way to the cell block. Mr. Elbert, at the time, did you happen to see a body in the tunnel? I'm pretty sure if I would have seen that, and I didn't. So the body had been dropped before the show. Mr. Elbert would have seen it. However, he has stated he did not see a body. So it's impossible to think that the body was dropped before the show. And after the show, the body was discovered in the workroom. In other words, the body being dropped down in the well and then moved to the workroom could only have been done during the show. I'm actually starting to get confused as to some of these orders of events because there's so much shit happening in this prison right now. There's so many people doing different things and animals doing different things. It's ridiculous how complex this is. And the only one who could have done it is Simon Keyes. Yeah. Mr. Edgeworth, what should we do? The body was moved through the well. It does put Mr. Keyes at a major disadvantage. However, the notion that the body was moved through the well is only a hypothesis. That doesn't mean there is evidence. I am obligated to recognize that fact. Will you allow me to investigate the courtyard once more? I give my approval in the name of the goddess of law. Reinvestigating the courtyard. I fear this may be our final chance. What? Huh? What? The fire! Could there be another prison break, pal? Should we evacuate? Everyone, please remain calm. This is just a signal for the evening meal. It's a little loud, so I can understand why you'd be surprised. It sure scared me. I thought something major was gonna happen. I'm terribly sorry. And with that, everyone, please return to your posts. J. Elbert, it's also the time for you to return to your room. I got it. Let's go, Rocky. Warden Roland, we will be proceeding to the courtyard for another investigation. Isn't it time for you to go home as well, Mr. Edgeworth? Looks like we're out of time. Why don't you try to continue this another time? But, the investigation... Today's been a big day, right? With the escaped prisoner and all. So I'm afraid I can't let outsiders like you loiter around any longer. This is my decision as the warden of the prison. Looks like it can't be helped. The warden's word can be called the law of the prison. Prosecutor Edgeworth, this means we'll have to carry out our investigation another day. Until then, you may hold on to your prosecutor's badge. Courtney Squad out. See you later, losers. You're the loser, not me. You can't even remember your own name. Now, I think it's time you all left. And looks like we'll have to continue the investigation tomorrow. Knightley's body was dropped down the well and was carried to the workroom from Mr. Albert's cell. This is Judge Courtney's logic, but is it correct? And Judge Courtney's claims that Mr. Keyes transported him, but was Mr. Keyes really the only one with a chance to move him? Mr. Edgeworth, let's do our best tomorrow. We have to save Simon no matter what. Indeed, I agree. I must prove Mr. Keyes' innocence without fail. Oh my goodness. You guys did warn me this case would take a while. And like, geez, I recorded for such a long time at this moment. This is probably going to be split into 2 episodes most definitely. Because I'm not going to make you guys watch like 2.5 hours of Ace Attorney later row. But, man, everything in this case is written so deliberately and shown so deliberately. While I am impressed with the writing, I do honestly wish it was a little simpler. Because while I am all for complex cases, and maybe I'm just an idiot and that's why I'm having trouble following some things, after a while, the case seems to become like a jumble of information that you're supposed to remember, especially with the order of events, things that happen that explain why certain times are off. And like, it's a little hard to follow, but at least I have the gist of it. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I've been having a lot of recording problems lately, so once again, I really hope that this came out okay. And also, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Honestly, a lot of the time I feel like my commentary isn't like worthy of the amount of views I get, and then it's not that interesting, but I'm glad you guys enjoy it, and I will keep making them because of that. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Raiden out.